cameras up. The streaming cameras up. The streaming cameras up. The streaming cameras up.
as well as finding new resources to bring into markets that we currently aren't in. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or anybody on our team to sit back here in the corner, and I'm going to be more than happy to answer your questions.
Right, I'm going to turn it back over to Nikki, who's going to formally introduce our speaker.
Thank you. I mean, ultimately, we formed a women's group for a couple of reasons, right? We know that we operate in a predominantly male-dominated industry, right? And so we want BSN to be an inclusive place to work. But also, we know that when companies really embrace and embody inclusion, we operate in a predominantly male-dominated industry, right? So we want BSN to be an inclusive place to work. But also, we know that when companies actually really embrace and embody inclusion, we operate in a predominantly male-dominated industry, right? So we want BSN to be an inclusive place to work. But also, we know that when companies actually really embrace and embody inclusion, we operate in a predominantly male-dominated industry, right? So we want BSN to be an inclusive place to work. But also, we know that when companies actually really embrace and embody inclusion, we operate in a predominantly male-dominated industry, right? So we want BSN to be an inclusive place to work. But also, we know that when companies actually really embrace and embody inclusion, we
Fishing, anglers, any soccer? Yeah, I know what stories to use. What sports have I not gone by? Volleyball. Anybody not like sports? It'd be weird because you're working here. So I'll use some stories from some of the great athletes and coaches that I've worked with to be able to talk about confidence. So mindset matters in everything that you do. And here's just a quick example. Let's just say you wanted to get better at remembering people's names. Has anybody ever had that? Like they want to get better at remembering people's names? Okay, so this happens to remember here. When you leave today, you're going to try to get better at remembering people's names. Alright? So your mindset, you walk out of here, I am going to try to get better. We all agree to do that? Thank you very much. And this side of the room over here, you are going to leave with a mindset that you will practice getting better. Thank you very much. And this side of the room over here, you are going to leave with a mindset that you will practice getting better. Thank you very much. And this side of the room has been trying, and this side of the room has been practicing. Who would be better at remembering people's names? And this side of the room has been any side of the room has been the practice side. Who would be better at remembering people's names? And this side of the room has been any side of the room has been the practice side. Who would actually good at remembering people's names? And this side of the room has been any side of the room has been the practice side. Who would actually good at remembering people's names? Because if you're not paying attention to the contract with brown M&Ms, you might also miss where things need to be bolted or screwed together. And so tripwires are a great way to pay attention to our thinking. In sports, we call these triggers or cues or reminders. So if you've been in sports before, you might know, like a golfer could pull on his pant leg or touch your hat to start a pre-shot routine. That's a trigger. Or in basketball, you pop a rubber band every time you change to defense that you remember to have intensity. And so as we look at the game of confidence, we want to remind ourselves to use a trigger to be confident. And again, it's a teachable skill, so we'll be able to do that. Hey, there are 3 principles of the mind that if we can all agree on, the rest of the things that I talk about will be much better. So the first principle of the mind is that your mind is powerful. Have you ever thought about that before? Your mind is powerful. In the psychology world, the diagnosis, the counseling side of psychology, we have stories about split personalities, and somebody can be allergic to orange juice with personality A, but personality B comes out and they're not allergic to orange juice. So there's this tremendous amount of power in our brain. I will show you how powerful your brain is with this next slide. Will you read this out loud with me? So according to research at Cambridge University, first your class vote to be in the right place, the rest be a total mess, and you can still read it without problems. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Isn't that cool? Your brain is so cool. Okay, kiss your brain. The elementary library just go, kiss your brain. Like that. So ready, kiss your brain. It's just a fun thing to do. So actually the information in there is not correct, but your brain is cool. So it was not at Cambridge, it was something outside of Cambridge, and it wasn't research, it was a doctoral paper. And it does matter a little bit what order they're in, but the bottom line is your mind is powerful, which is great news. Because the second principle of the mind is that you control your mind. Have you ever thought about that? That you control your mind. Do this with me. I want you to think of a song that you know a few words to. Everyone think of a song you know a few words to. If you don't have a song, use your little star. And I want you to sing this song in your head without anyone in the room knowing what song you're singing. So just in your head. Are you ready? Go. And stop. We're going to do it again, the same song, same words, only this time have it go faster. Go. And stop. One more time. Same song, same words, only this time slow it down. Go. And stop. So by show of hands, how many people could do that? You could speed it up and you could slow it down. Good, you can just stay in the room. So you control your mind. As easy as it is to speed up a song or slow down a song, that's how easy it is to control your mind. And when you put these two principles together, that your mind is powerful and you control your mind, you realize that you have a choice in your thinking. And it's the choices you make in your thinking that directly influence your actions. An easier way to say this is that your thoughts lead to your actions. So where were my basketball players, basketball fans, anyone basketball? Anybody ever seen a basketball? Again, that need to connect, I really get serious about that. So I worked with a basketball player, a college player, and he was in a free throw shooting slump. He was 96% accurate after practice. He was 17% in games. He held the record in the NCAA as the worst free throw shooter at the time. And as a sports psychologist, I'm not going to lie, that's your best client. They got nowhere to go but up. And so I met with this player, we were out on the court, and I said, hey, what changes between practice and games? Do you forget how to shoot a free throw? Nope. I said, well, does the crowd bother you? No, that's not it. Well, what about your coach? Are you worried about your coach? He kept saying, no, that's not it, that's not it. And then he did something very interesting. Dribbles the ball, steps up to the line, and he says, you know what, Julie? I think I'm jinxed from the line. And I said, guess what? We just found your problem. Because at practice, you don't think that way. At practice, you step up and you shoot the ball, and you count how many you're making, and you anticipate the next one going in. But in a game, the only difference between practice and a game is one thought. I'm jinxed from the line. And that thought drops percentages from high 90s to below 20%. Hey, there's a physical reason for that. Are y'all curious what it is? Stand up, I'll show you. If you're in heels, be careful. So stand up. So you're this player, there's no pressure, it's practice, you're great. If you're watching it streaming, go ahead and stand up at your desk and get a little blood flow in your brain anyway. So just shake it out just a little bit. And when you just jump up in the air, but be super careful if you're in heels. So just jump up. Get a good jump. Good job. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Now you're the exact same player within the game, and you just throw the whistle, and you think, I'm jinxed from the line. And I guarantee you, as soon as you have that thought, you will have tension in your body. Can you agree with that? So you're going to tighten up. So let's tighten up our legs just a little bit, tighten up our stomach, and go ahead and make a fist to tighten up your arms. Hold that tension and jump up in the air. Not the same, is it? I'm saying. So here's what happens. Your thoughts lead to your actions. And so we have to know, what are we thinking? So before we go and discover what you're thinking, we need to figure out what you want to apply it for. So maybe you're here because it's a work event and you're like, this is cool, I want to meet some other women. I got that confidence thing going. So confidence isn't your game. Maybe you want to get better at meeting places on time, or follow up, or remembering people's names. Or you're here specifically because just want to get better at confidence. Would you just decide that area of your life you want to improve or change? And let's call it your game. Otherwise, I have to keep saying that area of your life you want to improve or change. And so game is just a whole lot easier. So can you identify your game right now and turn to somebody next to you and tell them what your game is? That area of your life you want to improve or change? Will you tell somebody next to you? This is called accountability. And networking all at the same time. What's your game? What's your game? What's your game? What's your game? Okay, so I need 3 people. I need 3 people to tell me what your game is. So let's start over on this side of the room. What's one person will you tell me, hey, here's my game, this is the area of my life, I'm going to improve or change? One person, cameras are on you, they don't know who you are. Can somebody over here tell me what your game is?
Remembering people's names.
Awesome, Sydney, we talked earlier. Okay, about right here in the middle, our little like close-knit group right here. Will somebody share their game?
Calling people on the phone.
Like cold call?
Yeah.
Cold call. I got a story for you. I have little call reluctance. Never in my life will I. So game is cold calling. I want to get better at that. I want to. That's the part of my life I want to improve or change. This side of the room right here.
Saying no.
Saying no or saying yes to the right things. Yes. So that's improving our time management, our mind management, all of that. So keep your game in mind as we talk about confidence. So everyone has a coach assigned to you right now that can either maximize your game or it can get you on the sideline. And it's that voice in your head. So that voice in your head, research call it self-talk, but we like to call it your coaching voice because it's more accurate. So that voice in your head is saying, let's go, you're amazing. Or sometimes that voice in your head is saying, not today, sister. So that voice in your head, we know 3 things about it. Number 1, you have had it for a while. You started hearing that voice in your head around the age of 5. Around the age of 5, you started paying attention to that. I can remember when my girls, I have a son too, but when my girls were walking to the car, my oldest was around the age of 5, and she goes, Mom, I can talk to myself and no one can hear me. And so we had a little conversation, and then she got in the car, and her sister said, she tells her sister, and she goes, well, I want to hear. And so she goes, well, stick your ear up next to mine and see if you can hear it. And so nobody else can hear that voice, so you don't really understand it at 5, but you start hearing it at the age of 5. The second thing we know is that it's trainable. So you can fire that coach in your head and hire a new one, an upgraded coach, any day. And here's how you know if you need to fire your coach. Would you pay someone to talk to you the way you talk to yourself? If the answer to that question is no, then you need to fire your coach, and we'll work on hiring a new one. And then the third thing that we know about your coaching voice is that it's the most influential coach you will ever have. That voice in your head is the most influential coach you will ever have. Because it goes with you to work, it goes home with you, it wakes up, it goes to sleep. That voice in your head has more influence over you than anything else you've got. So we need to find out what that voice is talking to you about. We have to recognize it, we have to refocus, and then we need to create routines or habits of the mind. So let's start by recognizing your thinking. There are 4 typical thinking patterns that we have to understand before we can get into the game of confidence. So the first one is this monkey on your back. The M is for the monkey on your back. So let's just say I was going to call somebody up to give part of this presentation. You know, some people are like, oh yeah, me, give me a microphone, I'm up there. And other people are like, is she going to call me? Is she going to call me? And your head's looking down, I'm not going to call on you, so go ahead and keep looking at me. So let's just say you were going to come up here to give a presentation, and well, let's just imagine that. So could you do that with me right now? So just imagine that you're going to walk up here, you're going to turn and look at this lovely group of people, and you're going to give part of this presentation. You can talk about what you do at BSN, you can talk about your dog, you can talk about the weather, but whatever you're talking about, you're amazing. So could you just close your eyes for a minute and imagine yourself walking up here, turning with a big smile, and being amazing. Can you see yourself being amazing for just a moment? Go ahead and close your eyes. Be amazing. Flawless. If you're having a standing ovation, you get another chance at it. So hang on a second. So open your eyes. Now, let's say you were walking up here, and this monkey jumps on your back. Monkey on your back. That M is for monkey on your back. What are some of the things the monkey on your back might say? By the way, it's everything that could possibly go wrong. So what would it say to you?
Don't fall.
Don't fall. like you did in second grade when you were the narrator? It didn't happen to me. So yeah, it's going to say don't fall. Then it keeps going. It doesn't ever just say one thing. So what else is it going to say?
Don't stutter.
Don't stutter. Don't say like, don't say, It's going to tell you, it's going to, see, I just heard myself say it. So it's going to tell you, they know more than you do. Nobody wants to be there. Your shoes don't match. I mean, it just gets personal in every kind of way. So here's what I want you to do. Find somebody sitting next to you and decide if you're going to be the A person or the B person. And if there's 3 of you, pick 2 A's and 1 B. But meet each other. Hi, my name is Julie. So get a partner. A and B. I'm A. I'm B. Now focus. All the A's in the room, raise your hand. If you are an A, raise your hand. Where are they? A. You have such a hard job. If you're an A, you have to be amazing. So in just a minute, not right now, all the A's in the room, they're going to close their eyes. They're going to watch themselves give a presentation, and they are on their A game, and they are amazing. If you're an A and you can do that, just nod your head for me. Thank you very much. All the B's in the room, where are the B's? B's, you are going to be the monkey on their back. So you're going to get really close to them, and you're going to say things like, you're so unprepared. Nobody really wants to hear that. And you're going to tell them everything that could possibly, I apologize. You're going to tell them everything that could go wrong, except you can't get personal, that's just me. So just, if you're the monkey on the back, talk about the presentation. If you're person B. If you're person A, you're going to close your eyes and be amazing. Person B, when you're the monkey on the back, you literally have to talk out loud. Does everybody understand that? They cannot hear you if you don't talk out loud. So, A, be amazing. B, get up next to them and tell them everything that could be possibly going wrong. Are you ready? B, yes. To be intimidated, you have to build up other things or other people. And you build them up so much in your mind that you forget your talents and your strengths and your resources. So my favorite people to pick on are golfers. So you have 5 acres of green grass in front of you, and you have this little bitty sand trap. Would you look at that sand trap? I mean, the lip on that trap. And they start talking about the trap, and guess where the ball goes? In the sand trap, because they've been thinking about it. But they build it up so much in their mind instead of looking at where they want to go. And so we can be intimidated by Mondays. We can be intimidated by a client. We can be intimidated by a peer. We can be intimidated walking into a room full of women who are always put together and have great looking shoes. Right? So we build it up so much in our mind that we forget what our skills, what our strengths, what our resources, what our relationships are all about. It's a choice we make in our thinking. Third typical thinking pattern that is for the natural mindset. In sports, we call it peak performance. Anybody ever been there? Absolutely. Anybody ever had an hour when things were like that? Gotta connect a few more people in here. All right, awesome. So that natural mindset, you have to be well trained because you're trusting that training. That's why continuing education is so important. So you're well trained, and then you let it happen rather than talking yourself out of it with the monkey on your back or being intimidated. And then that D is for the determined. The determined mindset just says, I am going to focus on solutions and corrections rather than problems and mistakes. So I grew up in gymnastics with Julie. Surprise! It was a long time ago. So I grew up in gymnastics, and I'm a gymnast, and I'm on the balance beam. When I start to fall, and I say, don't fall, what am I thinking about? Falling. And so the determined mindset is on correction, shoulders up, hips square. So the correction rather than the mistake is that determined mindset. Hey, clasp your hands together for me. You know, people are naturally a right thumb on top or a left thumb on top. It doesn't mean anything, but one day we're going to make it mean something. So right now it doesn't mean anything. Shake it out and do it again. Is it the same way? Awesome. You can do it with your eyes closed. You can do it behind your back. You can do it over your head. You are well trained. Now, on purpose, make your hands go the other way. Ew. Comfortable? No, it's not comfortable. But can you do it? Absolutely. It takes effort. Is the effort in your brain or in your fingers? It's in your brain. So this is the determined mindset. And if you did it long enough, do you know what happens? It becomes natural. So we can choose to be in that determined mindset and then train ourselves to be in that natural mindset more often. So once we recognize our thinking, we can refocus, which means we can think differently. And if you want to bring your game of confidence, you have to think differently. So this side of the room over here, what is confidence? I want you to decide right now, definition, talk to each other, what is confidence? In the middle of the room, you guys are going to say, when do you need confidence? When do you need it? Talk to somebody next to you. And this side of the room is going to talk about, hey, what does confidence look like? So we're going to find out what it looks like. We're going to find out when we need it. And we're going to actually find out what it is. You have about 25 seconds. Go. Okay, time out. Let's start with definition. Hey, what is confidence? Believing in yourself, positive thinking, anything else? Believing in yourself, positive thinking, and knowing that you can do it, right? Okay, so definition, what does it look like? What does confidence look like? Eye contact, absolutely. What else? Yeah, just be in your presence, the way you walk, with a purpose, shoulders up, being easy, relaxed, firm handshake, all those great things. That's what confidence looks like. It actually has a sound too. Have you ever thought about that? Confidence has a sound. Does my mic go in and out? Or is it just me? Oh, okay. So I'll stand in the middle so you can hear me. So the confidence has a sound too. Like kind of try, maybe, hopefully. I'm going to kind of try to maybe, hopefully, sort of call you next week. Are you going to clear your calendar for it or not? No. So it has a look, we have a definition of it. Hey, when do we need confidence?
Oh, you're not comfortable with decision making.
Decision making, learning, every day. Seriously, cooking with a recipe. Because if you're not quite confident when you're cooking with a recipe, do you follow the recipe? No. You just make something else up. So So we need confidence in all areas of life, but how much confidence is the right amount of confidence? 100%? 80%? 97.2%? How many are my 100%ers? Say, hey, we're all in, we want 100% confidence. Oh, this is good. Okay, how many are in the 90 range-ish? 87 to 92? Awesome. Anybody below 80%? Like, give me a 57% confidence any day and I'm good. That's what I strive for. Do you have any of those? Okay. So you're going in for surgery tomorrow and you're on the table. It's heart surgery. And your surgeon walks up and he looks at you and he goes, 92% confident today. Anybody want to change their answer? So, 80% confident is 20% doubt. And doubt always changes your skill. So we would go for 100% confident. Hang on, stick with me. I know what questions you're going to ask. What about arrogance? So I went to school with Barry Sanders. Do you guys remember Barry Sanders? Long time ago, Heisman Trophy winner, Oklahoma State University. Heisman Trophy winner from Oklahoma State University. So Barry Sanders played for Detroit Lions. He's a great guy, super confident guy, incredibly humble. Did you know that Barry Sanders played at the exact same time as Deion Sanders? Do y'all remember Deion Sanders? He's on billboards all over Dallas, if you don't remember him. So Deion Sanders, also a player, but he had a different way that he portrayed himself to the media. So confidence and arrogance are not the same thing. Confidence is a belief in yourself. Now, the biggest mistake we make in confidence is that we tie our confidence to an outcome rather than our ability to create the outcome. That's so important, and my mic was off. I'm going to say it one more time. Is it on? Yes. The biggest mistake we make in confidence is that we tie our confidence to an outcome rather than our ability to create the outcome. So let's say I'm in sales. Sales. Great sale, get an appointment, confidence high, get a no, confidence goes down, get a yes, confidence goes up, and we're on this roller coaster of confidence. Well, I have to tell you, in sales, it's not price or product that has the greatest influence, it's the confidence of the seller. So if you're on a roller coaster in your confidence, then you're on a roller coaster in your results. There's just no doubt about it. So what about remembering people's names? Do you need confidence to be able to say somebody's name out loud? Yes, because in your head, your coaching voice is like, ooh, was it Nikki or Nicole? Nikki or Nicole? And so you just look down and you walk away, right? So you have to be able to, just say it boldly, say it wrong, and they're going to correct you. So you just have to have confidence in everything that you're doing. That 100% confidence, because 80 or even 92% confident that I'm going to have the right name, that 8% will keep me from saying it out loud. So confidence at 100% matters. So if we want to be confident in the skill or our ability to create the outcome, we have to know what skills are involved. So look at your game, that area of your life that you want to improve or change. The area of your life you want to improve or change. What do you need to be confident in? So not in your outcome, but what do you need to be confident in? Hey, do y'all know anybody who ever has been in this health kick, like they want to get healthy? Like maybe go to the gym or lose weight, right? And so what is the confidence in? If the confidence in the results, like let's say you're weighing yourself, if your confidence is in your results, when you're not getting your results, you stop playing the game. Does that make sense? So our confidence has to be in our plan or our skills or our choices, whatever we're doing. So did you know that you can literally train confidence? Did you know that? Well, I'm going to show you how. Because unintentionally, we methodically train down. So I want you to look at this slide up here. So we are going to learn how to think like a winner. So this scale right here is your personal evaluation. So that game, that area of your life you want to improve or change, is going to be evaluated right here. On the far right side is a 0. This is bad or terrible, or you hope nobody was watching. And then on the 10 side of things, this is you're exceptional, you're amazing, but you're not there all the time. You just know you could be with a little bit of practice. And then right there in the middle, that average, that is your average, where you consistently today. So again, average is where you are consistently today, 0 is you're terrible, you're below your average, and 10, that is your exceptional, and with a little bit of practice, you will get there. So, if this is how you evaluate yourself, let's say, do we have any to-do list kind of people? Anybody love to-do lists so much that you put things on the to-do list after you've done them just so you can check them off? You are speaking my love language right now. Okay, so let's just say on average, I get half of my to-do list done every single day. So where on this chart would failure have? So from average to below average to excellent, where would you mark failure for your area that you would improve or change? Below average? I'm 100% in agreement. So if you don't like the word failure, just call it a mistake. But if you know where your average is and you're consistently at your average, but today you're a little bit below your average, like I only got 2 out of 25 things on my to-do list, that is below my average. So let's just call it a mistake or failure and move on. But how good does something have to be for you to call it success? Above average? Love that. So do you know, I know people who would say, when I hit my goal, when I hit my 10, then I'll call it success. Do you know anybody like that? There are those to-do list people who get half their to-do list done every day, but today they got 13 out of 15. That's above average. Do you see that? Above average. But on the way home, are they thinking about the 13 or are they thinking about the 2? The 2. You might know people that use this chart. And you're probably in the room because I've made eye contact with you, but I'm not going to out you just yet. So what happens if this is our definition of success? Do you know what happens by default? Everything else just became failure. So that area of your life that you want to improve or change, you are above average at it. You are better than your average. Driving home, calling yourself a failure. How good will you be at it tomorrow? Not much better. Because if you consistently are above your average, you're consistently focused, you're consistently working on it, and you're calling yourself a failure over and over, that is not motivating. That is not thinking like a winner. So what would happen? What would happen if you use the right scale? And the right scale is average, where I am consistently today, and below, I'm going to call it failure, what it is, I'm going to correct it, move on. But from my average to my excellent, what would happen if I called it success? I would methodically train my confidence. Because researchers tell us every time we have failure, we give ourselves a reason to doubt. And every time we have success, we give ourselves a reason to be confident. And if we're using the wrong scale, we should be more confident, but instead, we're methodically training down. Does that make sense? So think about that in terms of that game, the area of your life you want to improve or change. Are you a little bit better than average and calling yourself a failure? So I want to be on time. I want to start being on time. And I'm never on time. Except I was on time after lunch today. And I was on time 2 days ago to a meeting. But I'm not going to count it because I wasn't perfectly on time everywhere. Does that make sense? And so when I call myself a failure, I will never consistently be on time. So we have to think like a winner every day. So people always say, hey, does this encourage couch potatoes? No, actually it doesn't. I can guarantee you it doesn't. Because nobody wants to be average. Like how many people, if I had t-shirts back here and they said, I'm average, how many are like, ooh, that's a new product we should carry? No, it's not. But the reality is that you are your average. You're average. Yeah, they had a speaker come into this work group and she just yelled at everybody, you're average, you're average. But you are your average. And the great thing about that is that you've got more game in you. And when you're consistently performing at your 8, guess what? Your 8 is now your new average. And there's a whole other level that you can't even imagine today. Now, I do have people that say, hey, Julie, but I'm a 10 all the time. Like, I'm just a 10. And so I would say your 10 is your average. But by the way, sometimes your average will blow them away. So we just have to recognize what we want to improve. We have to just own it. I yell at my kids like 6 times a day. Don't judge me. I've yelled at them 12. So I yell at my kids 6 times a day. That's my average, and I have a 10 in me. And so I'm going to work towards it. You know, if I only yell at them 3 times, that is like way winning in my book. So I have 3 kids. Average it out. That is a good day. So your average will blow them away. So confidence is about training confidence instead of doubt. It's about building to that 100% confident in your skill, not So when we recognize our thinking, we can refocus, and then we can create some new habits or new routines in our thinking. So if there's nothing else you remember this. That voice in your head will make you or break you. That voice in your head will bring on your confidence, or it will leave it at home. And confidence can be trained. So we still have, yes, I did it. We still have a few minutes for Q&A. So here's what I want to do. So we want you to practice getting your voice in the room. Turn to your table and say, here's one thing I want to remember. Or if you have a question, ask together in a group, and then you'll vet the question with your friends, and they go, ooh, that's a good one. That's the one that you bring into the room, all right? So you're going to have a little coaching with your people next to you. What do you want to remember, and what questions do you have? Turn to your table. I'll give you 2 minutes on this one. 2 minutes. People will naturally go to the results to define their average. I'd like you to back it up to the play. So even in sales, so our sales results are from choosing the right people, knowing your product, asking for the business, doing the follow-up. So there's a lot of things that are involved in there, and you might not need to improve your average on all of them. It could just be one specific part that you need to improve your average. I like using descriptive words on average rather than numbers. Because the better you describe your average, the easier it is to see when you're better than your average. Does that make sense? Hey, what was your game? What's that area you want to improve or change? Follow-up, that's a great one. So what's your average on follow-up? Well, what's your name first? Okay, yeah, because I've already started. No, I should have asked. Okay, so Jacqueline, what's your average on follow-up?
Yeah.
So is it, I follow up 80% of the time, I follow up within 24 hours, or, think descriptively. How would you?
I would say, put that out there.
I know. Hey, y'all can help. So what's your average on follow-up? So if you were going to get better on follow-up, you got to know where you're starting from. So just give some words so that we can start helping Jacqueline build her average.
Depends based on busyness.
Ah, there you go. So when I'm in control of my schedule, my follow-up is, it's timely, it's within the hour, but when the season, when I have a lot of projects going on, my follow-up is 4 days, or something like that. So even defining it in terms of season would be helpful too, because then it's easier to be better than average. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, that was one. Who else is going to go? Still not working. Oh, Awesome.
I'll just share what I remember from this.
Thank you.
I liked how you said that 80% confidence is 20% doubt. So really having 80% confidence means that you're not confident. So understanding that, and I do a lot of speeches and presentations. So for me, it's like, oh, I'm not going to say that because maybe it's not, and just that's doubt. So I may say I'm confident, but that's not confident. So being able to own my space authentically and understand that, hey, you're either 100% confident
Or you're not.
Yeah.
I love that. Could everybody hear that? So just talking about the 80% confident is 20% down and what that does. And I guarantee you're sitting in a meeting and you want to be a powerful woman in the room and you've got 20% doubt and you are hesitating or making excuses for interrupting and using words like doubt or kinda or maybe or try or we can kinda sorta, and that will not get you anywhere in the room. And so you have to be certain of what your confidence is in, your preparation, your analytics, your research, your timeliness, your relationships in the room. There's so many things to be confident in. But if you're only confident in the outcome, what will they think of me if I say this? Then it's a roller coaster. Right there. Thank you. That was 2. Okay, who's going next? We have 5 more.
I have one.
Yes.
Okay. It's not our group thing, but we'll make it our group thing.
That's a good idea. Bob said.
I live by this philosophy, right? That I'm invincible until I'm proven wrong, right? So
Okay.
I can do anything.
Fake it till you make it. I got it, yeah.
Right? So what are your thoughts on that philosophy?
So I believe that you can never be overconfident, but I absolutely believe we can be underprepared. Yeah. So, I want to go in all confidence, but you better have something to be confident in. So you want to make sure your preparation matches what you're being asked to do. Yeah. Okay, was that 3? Yes. Awesome. Who's going number 4?
I think what I took away from it was to think like a winner, because I tend to, here's my average. If I didn't get 100%, then
It's failure. Yes.
It's not 100%. So changing my mindset in that it's not failure if I get 8 instead of 10.
Yeah, it's
Above my average.
absolutely above your average. So your average will always be right there at 5 because you're growing and you're building. But the 10 is what keeps moving because you just get better and more game in you. And so if you can think about that scale, you can methodically train confidence. And you are unbelievable results because of it. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So our overachievers clearly are sitting right here because we have 3 answers from the middle of the room. So I'm not going to point anybody out for not saying anything yet, but does anybody else have so we're on 4, we have 3 more. Oh, thank you.
The thing that I was taking away the most is being able to catch yourself in any dialogue you have.
Yes.
It's very easy to get sucked into it and put yourself in hot. So to be able to bite that in the beginning and push yourself up.
And when we talk about those repetitive thoughts, that 80% of your thoughts are repetitive, they were never said out loud. They are the things that are in your head, those stories that you tell yourself. You've got to be that Dos Equis man. Tell yourself the truth or a better version of it, right? So you've got to change the story that you're telling yourself. Because a lot of times we make up things in other people's head that are not helpful to us. Can I tell you one quick story? It's super funny. So I was checking out, I don't think anybody said yes, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So I was getting my hair done, and it had been in the summer. I was wearing shorts, and this woman I was checking out, she goes, "Wow, you don't even care. I mean, my legs are so white, but look at you." And I go, wow, I think she thinks she's complimenting me, because I have never been insulted with that much enthusiasm in my entire life. And so I was like, oh, wow. And then I discovered self-tanner. So, but you tell yourself, so you could either be crushed by that, or you could be like, wow, she really thinks she's complimenting me. That's what I said in my head, and I just went with it. It's been a funny story for years. Okay, so we're at 5 now. 5. Yes, over here. of those things that you can train and get better at. Is that 5 or 6? 6. We've got one more. He's going to be right here.
As you know, the thoughts that we have are repetitive, so 80% we've already thought before, which means it's habitual. How do you become more mindful of the thoughts that you're getting and break yourself out of that thought process?
So glad you asked. How do you become more mindful of your thinking? Well, remember when we talked about triggers in the beginning with Van Halen and the brown M&Ms or golfers and pulling on a pant leg? So we can set up a trigger to go, what am I thinking, right? So you could use a reflection, and every time you see a reflection, you ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? You could use a color of like a green, and every time you see a green pen or you see green in the room, you ask yourself. I use triggers in a lot of things that I'm doing. In fact, my husband's contact information in my phone is My Love Bell. So his first name is My Love, last name is Bell. And so every time he calls, his picture comes up and it says, My love is calling. And sometimes I go, oh. And sometimes I go, oh yeah. Because I have to remember, I love this guy, right? But it's still hard to be mean. Wait, y'all didn't get that the first time, really? So it's hard to be mean whenever it's like, my love is calling you. I'm like, oh, okay. So triggers are great because it makes you change your thinking. And so maybe every time you get a phone call or a text from a number you don't know, you ask yourself what you're thinking. And then you can be happy about telemarketers because they're helping you train your thinking. We can also write down our thoughts because we have consistency in them. And so if it's not true, find a better version of the truth. Over here, write them down and then start practicing saying this. Yeah. So thank you for your time. Loved being here with you. And if I have it my way, I'll be back. And so I'll be able to get my arms around you, be able to work with you and coach you. I do know this, people don't change things in a one-time setting. So nobody learns to ride a bike in a workshop. Nobody changes their thinking in a one-hour event. And so there'll be follow-up information. And in that, if you want to have these, we do 1 or 2 minute video follow-ups that are available for you all. So if you want a season of reminders, you can ask for those and we'll get you on a list and get those sent out to you for the microchipping. Let's bring up Nikki.
Who's 100% confident? Just so you know, someone told me at a BSN meeting last week, oh my goodness, you look and remind me so much of Fat Amy. Don't agree. But, you know, just sharing my white leg story. But this was great. This is recorded, so it's going to be on the WERC website. So if you want to go back and watch it 1, 2, 3, 100 more times, you can. If you are not signed up for WERC, get signed up, because this is the type of stuff that you're